Hey everyone, Brendan Polk, Director of Marketing. With me today is Mike Dolph, Chief Revenue Officer.
Hey everyone, nice to be here.
Back again with our Good, Bad, and Ugly series, where we're talking about good, bad, and ugly experiences we have every day when interacting with businesses and services. Last time we talked about a good experience Mike had at his local pizza place. Today we're going to talk about a bad experience that Mike just had at jury duty. So, Mike, take it away.
Jury duty. I'm pretty sure everyone watching that just had their skin crawl, so that's powerful message. No, I mean, look, I love jury duty, and I think it's a great part of serving and doing our civic duty. So that was super cool. So I really appreciate it. What I got thinking about that was the experience, and so I want to dig into this. So I got called to jury duty. I got mail, which when you get mail this day and age, it's either from my grandma, or it's a bill, or it's a jury duty summons. It was the latter a month ago I got, right? And so I got that. And it basically said, look, you've been selected, et cetera. And my next step was I needed to call on a Sunday after 5 p.m. to find out if that Monday I needed to report for jury duty. So I did that. So this happened last week even. So Sunday, I'm like, I put it on my calendar. Thankfully, I remembered to do that. Otherwise, no way I would have remembered in a month. Called in, and they said jurors, 4 through 150 report for duty at 7:30 on Monday. So I was like, oh, scramble, cancel things for work, right? Like figure stuff out, no problem. But I showed up Monday. There was really good signage, so I could find my way to where the room I needed to be in. When I got in there, it wasn't really clear what to do. So I went and asked at the front counter, what do I do? They said, oh, go fill out this paperwork, and then we'll tell you what to do next. And so 150 or 100 or so people in this room filling out paperwork for 30 minutes or so. Then they make us watch videos for 30 minutes, which is cool, kind of like educating you about the process and all that stuff. And then the judge comes in 30 minutes later, so about an hour into this thing, the judge comes in and they say, hey, this was for a grand jury selection, which was good and interesting and educational for me. And then they randomly picked some people out of the crowd and then pulled them over to the other half of the room, questioned if they had any hardship, and then they sort of whittled out a few people, and then they pulled more, and you're sitting there sort of like, am I going to go, am I not? And then they found their people they needed, and they excused the rest and said, you're good for 2 more years. Thanks for doing your part of this important duty. And away we went. So an hour and a half into my Monday, I was back, went back to work, got squared away. So that was the experience. So let's break down why, for me, this and why I think for the county was a bad experience. Where could we have improved, right? So we put some bullet points here to kind of keep us on track with some of these. But so the first one here, channels, and this is a theme that comes up all the time. They gave me the opportunity to call into a number at 5 o'clock, which is okay. Would have been better if they had text reminded me or emailed me or given me other options for communicating with them to see my status. Absolutely. You know what I would have loved? If they'd sent me a text and said, once they'd figured out if I was needed or not to show up, send me a text at 5 p.m. on a Sunday and say, we do need you to report, and here's a link to the Google Maps where you need to show up or whatever. That would have been awesome. That would have knocked my socks off. Instead, I'm scrambling to figure out where they're at and where to park and all that stuff. And I had to call in and listen through a phone tree and to hear if I was even needing to show up. So definitely an opportunity there to make that easier for me. The other thing is workflow, right? So I got a letter in the mail, which is fine in and of itself. Miraculous that I found it, that I put it on my calendar. But again, if they have data about me, they could maybe let me opt into getting messaging on this on email if I wanted to. Again, kind of tying into the channels side of it. But when I said, hey, I need to show up, it would be nice if automatically I got details about where to show up to, right? Again, like put it on my calendar. Help me make this a part of my workflow a little easier, because I'm sure most people are putting it on a work calendar, a personal calendar, things like that digitally. Give me that ability to do that so I don't have to go and create that, right? The other thing, of course, once I showed up, we spent 30 plus minutes working on paperwork, right? Which the paperwork side ties in my last point, data here. I mean, I would have been happy to fill out that paperwork before, but guess what? I shouldn't even have to do that. They have all my information. They summoned me. Why are they not having paperwork ready to say, can you validate that this is right? Make that a lot easier. really low tech. There's not like making me fill it out on an iPad or something that would introduce a cost, but certainly that paperwork side of it could have cut a half an hour for 150 or so people out of their, life having to sit and write that on a pen and paper. And not just that, but once I got that done, then they manually input that into a system, highly inefficient, right? So it's a bad for my customer experience as a potential jury member, really bad for theirs too. It takes man hours and data entry, and everyone's waiting in there, highly inefficient in my mind. And then the last part of data, right? I've touched on this, but they know all about who I was. That information should have made a lot of the process a lot more streamlined, right? So data is going to come up all the time, either making or breaking an experience. And so I touched on this bonus point, but here's the dirty and amazing secret about customer experience. I'm looking at it from my standpoint to say, gosh, if they'd done these things, it would have been better for me. It would have been better for the county as well. It would have saved time for them, not just me. A lot of time, a lot of accuracy. They probably had a really hard time reading my really poor handwriting on paper that I had to fill out. That I shouldn't even have to fill out stuff on paper, right? It would have saved them time. It would have saved me time. So again, it's these little things. I think one of the other pieces of this bonus that I want to touch on is people think of customer experience as just the interaction points, but it's these workflow. It's all how all these pieces flow together. It's not just how's the tone of the person who greeted me, how complex was the IVR menu. It's all these things brought together. And so when those are achieved, a lot of times the dirty secret is it's not just helping the customer, it's helping the company too. So that's it for this time. Next time you have jury duty, maybe your county's more dialed in. Maybe they listen to this message and got their stuff together. If you know any counties that want help diving into their customer experience, having walked through that from a jury perspective, I'm happy to give my free consultative services to them. So thanks for tuning in as always. Brandon, anything you want to add?
No, that sounds great. Appreciate you sharing the story. If anybody watching has any customer experiences, good or bad or terrible, feel free to leave those in the comments below. Like and subscribe as usual, and have a great day.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.